Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is getting dragged over his feud with Disney by members of his own party. On Tuesday, former New Jersey Governor Christie mirrored Donald Trump's criticism of DeSantis' crusade. Here's what he told news site Semaphore when asked about it yesterday.
I'm a conservative, and I believe as a conservative, the job of government is in the main to stay out of the business of business. Like, I don't think we should be heavily regulating business. I don't think we should be telling business what to do, what to say, how to think. And I believe that's what conservatives have believed for as long as I've been alive. I don't think Ron DeSantis is a conservative based on his actions towards Disney. I mean, you know, where are we headed here now? That if you express disagreement in this country, the government is allowed to punish you? To me, that's what I always thought liberals did.
This week, DeSantis dug his feet in deeper in the clash with Disney, announcing a new bill that could revoke development agreements, require regular inspections of its theme parks, and possibly convert the land around Disney World into a state park or even a prison. Here he is on Monday.
And at the end of the day, we made the decision as a state, as a people, through the medium of our elections, that we would not have one corporation serving as its own government. That's not good government. And it's not something that we want to entertain in Florida any longer. And whatever rationale there was 60 years ago to do that, clearly now we're in a much different era as a state. We've got a lot of competitors that are treated differently, a lot of businesses and individuals treated differently, so we don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that Disney lives under the same laws as everybody else.
DeSantis first clashed with Disney after former CEO Bob Chapek spoke out against Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. So what do you think? MAGA Kingdom declares war on Magic Kingdom?
Look, I think it's worth
I wanted
going
more
back.
of a laugh for that.
I'm sorry, Robby.
Okay, continue. Continue.
Look, remember that this started because DeSantis promulgated this bill. Some people call it a Don't Say Gay bill. Some people don't.
Some people just call it by whatever.
Well, yeah, I don't even honestly
state
remember
bill number, whatever
what
it
it was
is.
called.
Yes.
Sorry, but for these purposes, I'm just going to call it the Don't Say Gay bill. Disney employees pressured the Disney CEO to say something. There was criticism of CEO Bob Chapek for how it was handled. So a statement was released that basically said, this company has been telling stories for 100 years. Those stories have had a meaningful, positive impact on the world. And one of the reasons why is because one of our core values of storytelling is inclusion and acceptance and tolerance, and we can't lose that. Okay. In response, Ron DeSantis launches what feels like an all-out war from Disney's perspective on it. That started with ending its special tax status, which fine. I mean, like,
right. Well, that's what I was going to say to some of this. Like, yeah, no, so I agree with, I am of more of the Christie bent on the government not getting involved with business. I don't actually know that that's where the Republican Party honestly is anymore. So, what it means to be a conservative, I think, has changed. But not necessarily for the better in my own view, but it has changed. But I don't think there should be like special carve-outs for specific firms.
So I was going to say, if you have a reason, a rationale to end that special relationship, fine. But it's very obviously not about a business decision, a financial decision, a tactical decision about how to keep an important company, one of Florida's biggest employers in the state. It was about revenge. And so Christie's point that now we not only have that, we have him now threatening to build a prison next to America's theme park. It feels like the government using whatever resources it has to punish a business because it simply made a statement that it doesn't agree with a state policy.
Yeah, and this is why I have ultimately said I think this is foolish, and I have actually likened it to the jawboning done by the government to influence social media companies to make speech-related decisions that I don't agree with, using ultimately the threat of regulation at many of these hearings, where both Democrats and Republicans say, do this or else, and the else being we're going to break up your company, or we're going to expand your liability risk by changing Section 230, whatever. That's similar, I think. Is this a smart way to fight? Now fighting wokeness obviously is important to Republican primary voters.
Yeah.
You're laughing more at that than
how?
my
happy because it's that much more absurd.
Yes.
Look what happened in midterms. Is that at some point?
No, I said it's to Republican primary voters.
Okay.
I didn't
All
say
right.
to the broader necessary
Sure.
American electorate. He's in a battle with Donald Trump, maybe with Chris Christie, maybe with Mike Pence, with Nikki Haley, with Vivek Ramaswamy, who's made like anti-wokeness a crusade for himself. Wokeness, what we're describing as wokeness, is not popular for the kinds of people you're going to have to turn out to be the Republican nominee. So maybe this fight makes sense from he's the real person who fights. Trump thinks this is kind of stupid because Trump is a New York liberal somewhat on issues of sexuality and identity and maybe not race stuff.
No.
But
You can say what you want about Trump. I think that Trump's kids make him not be anti-gay.
I was just watching a video
anti-gay.
put out by a conservative organization trying to say DeSantis is the best. If you're mad about woke transgender ideology stuff, DeSantis is your guy, not Trump. Playing all these clips of Trump saying, yeah, Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever bathroom at Trump Tower she wants to use.
Because I think actually Donald Trump is much
that's what I was
closer
saying.
to where people are.
That's what I was just saying.
But he's not the king. I don't think that he is the king. He's
That's
not
literally
New
what I
York,
just said.
Yeah, but you said that he was basically a New York liberal. I don't know what
On social
issues. I think that is not entirely true. He bust the door open for what politicians were able to say that was anti-woke. Literally coming down his golden escalator, talking about, Mexico's not sitting their best, talking about Haiti is a SHIT whole country. I mean, nobody, in terms of what they actually say, the words coming out of their mouth, has gone as far as Trump.
On racial issues.
Now, I would say DeSantis, for all they talk about woke is really this nice holding place for them to sit in, where they don't actually have to say the thing that's anti-woke. And this is a tell. DeSantis will sit there and pass policies about being anti-woke, and he will say you shouldn't have to do this and that and respect somebody's, gender identity and la da da da. Is he going to dead name someone on air?
Well, he could on Twitter
Trump
now.
would. Trump with his arm around Caitlyn Jenner saying, "This is my friend," would refer to her as Bruce, and nobody would
I don't know
care.
about that.
I mean, not like in a vindictive way, but I could totally see
Trump
him
will say
doing
whatever
it.
he wants to say,
'Cause,
but I
yeah,
don't.
no one's going to put Trump in a corner.
Okay, right. If you want the entertainment and the wild ride and the occasional coarseness and just totally unscripted insanity,
Yes,
you're going to
that's what
prefer
America
Trump
wants.
every time. But if you're a Republican primary voter who wants to see actual government action taken against wokeness, then this is you might prefer DeSantis, or people are going to make the case for DeSantis. I mean, this is, to my mind, this is the issue with the crusade against wokeness, is that if you're being a principled, free market conservative or libertarian or government leave companies or leave everybody alone person, your frustration with wokeness cannot very effectively be channeled into political action because, as Christie said there, we don't want the government to do things of that nature. I've tried my best to redirect it to, are there actual government initiatives to accomplish censorship or to accomplish DEI type stuff in schools and things like that, that if it is, publicly funded or publicly pushed and provided for, that we can get rid of. That's still consistent with our principles.
Yeah.
Let's focus there instead of, trying to jail Mickey.
Yeah, I mean, look at the literally. Hey, what if a prison just happened right next to your theme park? Yeah, it's an open threat. And remember the posture of this. DeSantis passes legislation, promulgates legislation that would affect the way that LGBT people can live their lives in Florida. Legislation, whatever you think about it, good or bad, he does an actual law that infringes on people's ability to live the way they want. Disney says, hey, I don't like that law. Speech. Legislation, followed by speech, saying I don't like that legislation, followed by the government using its will to threaten Disneyland with removing its tax status, doing a bunch of other things, and now putting a literal prison next to America's playground. I don't know if we're going to be throwing around words like authoritarian and who's forcing people to say what, and forcing the trans movement is forcing this, and I have to believe in your fiction, blah, blah, blah. I see a lot of force in this scenario, and I got to say, it's not coming from the side of the trans community.
I will note, and I learned this detail just yesterday, apparently it's in DeSantis' new book, him and his wife got married at Disney World. She's a big Disney person, and he kind of has a very passive-aggressive, I wasn't, but she was. So maybe this is personal.
Revenge is a dish best served cold, apparently in the DeSantis household.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Yeah.
More rising after this.